All right, welcome to Witchpolice Radio. I am once again living on the internet, as are we all, and doing another episode of the show. And one of the things that's cool about doing this virtually is that, I used to do it in person. I used to go to people's jam spaces or houses or cars or whatever and talk to them. And this has kind of given me an opportunity to reach out more to people whose music I've always sort of been familiar with locally, but have never actually talked to before. And my guest on this episode is someone like that. I know I heard your record that came out. I'm thinking it was probably 2017 or so. And
Yeah,
I'm definitely curious to hear what you have going on now. But before we even get into that, if you want to just introduce yourself and maybe give some background about what it is you do musically.
yeah. My name is Blue McLeod. I'm from a project called Grotoko. I'm a multi-instrumentalist and I play solo. I usually play kazoo and guitar on stage, and then on my recording projects, I play viola, I play accordion, I pretty much play everything.
Cool.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Cool. So am I right in thinking it's been a while since you released something? Like it's been a few years?
It has been. My first album came out in 2017, and now my friend Mark and I are working on the second one still. It's almost done. It's taking longer than expected, which is, kind of predictable when you get hit by a pandemic.
Sure.
But yeah. So I still don't have a release date because I'm still very OCD about the mixes, but we're getting through the mixes, and then it's just mastering and releasing it. So the
Cool.
album's gonna be called Periwinkle. It's gonna be 13 songs. Yeah, I'm not really sure what else to say about it.
No,
right
that's
now.
that's cool. That's cool. So I guess one question I have for people who do what you do, where you can play solo, like you said, with guitar and kazoo, and then your record has so much more going on, so many more instruments. How do you write these songs? Like, do you write them to be performed solo and then you sort of add to them after the fact, or how does that work?
I've never really, like, there was a point when I started thinking that it would be a good idea to start thinking about how it would be performed when I was writing it, but then it was just too much of a challenge. So when I write it, I don't actually really think about what it's going to be like live.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, like how my second album started, I challenged myself. I gave myself 2 weeks to finish an EP, and the challenge I gave myself was I wasn't allowed to use more than 5 textures.
Okay.
And yeah, I couldn't stop layering. That's just how it always ends up like that. So I just kind of accepted that it's different live than it is on the recording.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, I don't know. I think that's okay.
Oh, totally. Yeah. It is.
Yeah.
Do you I guess the reason I'm asking it because there is so much going on. I mean, when you listen to your previous record, anyway, there is a lot of layers. There's a lot of having the viola in there, for example, really changes the sound of things compared to what you would be able to do with just a guitar. So, do you have 2 versions of the songs? Like, do you have the studio, like kind of the recorded version, and then maybe a stripped down version you play live, or do you just try to play it as straight up as you can?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how it works out. Sometimes I play with other people. So I mean, sometimes shows are like, they're pretty different. It is definitely a different version on stage than it is on the recording. And I mean, yeah, it's instead of viola or whatever, I play the sort of leady parts on kazoo.
Okay.
And yeah, and I play guitar. Some songs on the record are banjo songs and ukulele songs, but I'll put them on guitar live. Sometimes I bring more instruments.
Cool.
I guess it's kind of different every time.
Cool. Okay, so I guess one of the things that I was trying to figure out upon listening to your stuff is, where do you think that you fit? I hate asking this question because no one likes answering it, and it's such a hard thing to answer.
Yeah.
But what do you think you consider yourself to be as far as genre-wise? I mean, the obvious thing I think people would suggest is folk, because you have ukuleles and banjos and things like that happening. But there's definitely more to it than just that.
Yeah, for sure. I call it arch rock. because
Okay.
I mean, I yeah, it's the goal is to be rock music. I think it wound up being a bit more on the poppy side, but yeah, when I first started the project, I wanted to do something like I wanted to call it collage rock, where it's
Okay.
like a bunch of stuff just like sticking out and like a lot of contrasty sort of textures. Um, yeah, I mean, I've just sort of gone with indie and stuff like that for what to call it because I have no idea what to call it either. Everything's
Yeah.
kind of melded into something different now, I guess, these
Does,
days.
does that kind of nebulousness, does that make it hard for you to fit in, like figure out where you fit within the larger music community as far as getting on bills at shows, or fitting in with certain scenes? Like, does that, the fact that you can kind of move in and out with different stuff, like you said, you want to be rock, but it could be folk or it could be art rock or whatever you want to call it. Like, does that make it harder to sort of find your place within the music scene, or is it kind of a nice thing to have that ability to shift around?
I feel like it's actually kind of helped because I mean, like I guess my writing style is sort of changing a bit. Like my newer stuff is kind of moving more towards like a acoustic punky sort of
Okay.
thing.
Okay.
But I find, yeah, it's actually been really helpful. Like I've been on bills with pop artists, and I've been on bills with folk artists, and I've been on bills with punk artists, and yeah, I feel like it's actually kind of helped out a bit because it's not because I could find a way to fit on really any bill. I almost as long as it's kind of close to the rock genre and pop
Right.
genre, I guess.
Without sort of pigeonholing yourself as this kind of artist or that kind of
Yeah,
artist.
yeah,
Cool. Cool. What this is another thing I hate asking about. I'm sick of talking about it because I've been talking about it for like a year and a half. But the pandemic is obviously still in everyone's minds. Shows are happening again, which is awesome, and people are starting to
yeah.
get out there more. But um, what has this whole experience been like for you as a creative person? I mean, have you found I don't want to call it time off because it isn't time off for anyone. It's more stressful than usual. But have you found this kind of like enforced time off? I guess has it been helpful creatively, or has it been difficult to sort of write music and do that kind of thing during the pandemic?
It's, I mean, definitely when it started, I definitely almost got a couple songs written, like when it first started, but I was mainly just losing my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, I mean, it was really just kind of depressing for a while. Um, I mean, yeah, I wasn't really doing much for a lot of it, and then I would say I mean, Mark and I found time to record, but like with the restrictions and stuff, we didn't really want to break any rules. We wanted to do things safely. So
Yeah.
that's part of the reason why the album took so long. And then the album taking a long time was also kind of depressing. And then there were other challenges that were going on. Um, I think I feel like I've just sort of recently been able to like get back into like functioning mentally enough
Okay.
to write. Um, I feel like the pandemic though, I kind of I feel like I'm a different kind of person now. Like at the start of the pandemic, I was definitely like I used to. I mean, it's you don't really want to rush a big creative product, but it just felt like 2017 just felt like so long ago, and I just wanted to
Yeah.
get the album out. And the pandemic has definitely taught me like some patience. So I feel like I'm the opposite now because it's like no, I don't want it out until it's completely done. So um, yeah, that's pretty much how the pandemic's been for
So
me.
that
Just
enforced patience has actually worked out for you, I guess, in terms of the
yeah,
honing the project and making sure it's exactly how you want it to go.
yeah, it was yeah a lot of learning patience and I guess that's which yeah. I mean, I would have liked to have it out sooner, but nothing really goes according to plan when yeah,
Of course, yeah.
pandemics.
The whole world is shut down. Yeah, you can't you can't make anything
Yeah,
happen. Yeah.
yeah.
What does live performances look like? What do live performances look like for you going forward? I mean, I know things are sort of slowly starting to open up. Shows are kind of happening again. Do you have anything planned? Like, I mean, I guess as far as a release show for the record or anything like that?
I think we are gonna have. I know Mark wants to do a release show, and then we'll probably look for a bass player and a keys player. We don't really have anything planned. Depending on how it goes, I might just release the album digitally and then wait a bit before doing sort of a release party.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really have any shows coming up yet. I'm still kind of on the paranoid side. I don't want to set up a show and then have it turn out that it's not safe to
For sure.
bring people in, especially like it's cooling down now, like it's winter, so outdoor venues aren't really going to be a thing.
That's right.
So yeah, yeah, I
That's
wanted
it's
to book
tricky.
it. Yeah, I wanted to book a tour, but and like every day I'm just like I gotta start booking that tour, but ooh, it's nerve-wracking when you don't know what to expect. So
Well, yeah, and if you're going out of province, the differences from province to province as far as lockdown rules and stuff like that, yeah, it's got to be hard.
yeah, for sure.
So since it's been so long since you've been working on this, do these songs still feel fresh to you, or are you just kind of wanting to get them out at this point? Like, does it still feel like new, current, like this is your current sound, or are they? Is there anything about them that kind of feels like, oh, I should have released this a while ago because now I sound like this?
Oh, yeah, there is. I mean, I've definitely I am working on my third one while we're still finishing the second one, and it
Okay.
is quite a bit different actually. It always seems to like blend together somehow in the end, but yeah, I mean, it's still like, I mean, I still like the songs. I'm still proud of the songs. Um, I mean, yeah, it like I'm okay that it didn't come out a while ago. It does sound like it was from a while ago though, because some of the songs were written before my first album came out, so some of them are
Oh
pretty
wow.
old. And then yeah, I think the newest song on the album was written probably right. It was probably finished right before the pandemic hit. Um, so yeah, that's
Well, and I guess
yeah,
they'll be new to the audience anyway, right? I mean, people hearing them when
yeah,
the
for
record
sure.
comes out, it's not even if they sound old to you, they're not going to realize, right? Because it's new to them for sure. Yeah, yeah. Do you do you have sort of a? I think I saw something on your social media about how you were busking for the first
Yeah,
time in a while. So is that a big part of how you get these songs sort of rehearsed in front of an audience?
yeah. I would say if I wasn't a busker, I probably wouldn't be able to get on stage just
Okay.
because I'm that shy. Like I probably would have a hard time talking to people in general if I wasn't a busker.
Oh,
It's
cool.
yeah, it's
Well,
really
not
good
cool that you would have a hard time
practice.
talking, but cool that works.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's been yeah, busking has been good. Like back when I lived in Montreal and I was busking every day there, it did a lot for me in finding listeners and followers too. And it was yeah, busking was like really it was kind of the start of my career. Like I used to be a Celtic flautist, and that's
Okay.
what I did when I was busking. And then when I built the guts for it, I started playing banjo and guitar on the street, and people seemed to like really accept it, and people seemed happy to see me, so I stuck with it. And yeah, it was weird being back at it, but like it yeah, for some reason yeah, it like it felt normal. Like I had a microphone and
Okay.
in a P100 mask, um because yeah, for some reason it felt like the right thing to do. um and yeah, it's I don't know what else to say about it,
That's
but
interesting that busking kind of gave you the confidence though to play the real shows because I think busking to me anyway almost seems like you're it seems like it'll be harder because you're sort of forcing yourself onto people walking by, right? It's like, look at me, listen to this, stop what you're doing. Like it seems like that would be more difficult than people sort of who go there knowing that you're going to play music. Like, so how does that work? How do you get people to listen to you when you're busking? Because I mean, a lot of time people will just walk by. I've seen buskers, I've sat and listened to them, and you 9 times out of 10 people just give them a glance and keep walking. So how do you get confidence from that? Because that seems like to me it would be the opposite of that, where you just get
yeah.
like beat down every day because all these people are ignoring you, right?
I honestly I think the beating down is actually it might be a good thing because then you get practice being beaten down.
Right.
I mean, I don't think I've ever had anyone yell offensive things at me when I was on stage, but I've definitely seen it happen. And I don't know, it's good to not let it get to you. And I mean, attracting people's attention. I don't think I ever. I mean, I guess, yeah. I kind of focused on that. I used to, like sometimes it's just what I play. Like I used to play singing saw, on the street,
Oh,
and
that's
that
cool.
got people's attention because it's weird.
Yeah.
And when I play the kazoo, people seem to like really. The kazoo gets people's attention. I can't do that with a mask on
Right.
because yeah, it sticks out too much. But yeah, and then I mean, playing crowd pleasers, I guess, does it. I should probably be learning more covers for that. Um,
Do you have sort of standards that you pull out, like that you know people are going to be into?
uh, Tiptoe Through the Tulips
Oh yeah.
by Tiny Tim
Yeah,
is
yeah,
a,
yeah.
yeah, it's probably the best I got.
Well,
People,
it's pretty suited to ukulele too, right?
yeah, yeah, I play it on the banjo sometimes too.
Oh, cool, cool.
Yeah, it sounds good on the banjo, in my opinion.
Well, something you said a few minutes ago too about busking and about how doing it would sort of get you people knowing who you were and getting followers and things like that. I hadn't even thought of that aspect of it, but yeah, now that we're in this social media world, you can be playing on the street and then people can find you later. Whereas,
Yeah,
even 15 years ago, that wouldn't have been an option. So that is a cool way to kind of generate interest in what you're doing because people can just look you up right there and right on the street.
yeah, yeah. I used to have a sign out with all my social media stuff. I I painted it. It was art. I don't know. I'm embarrassed of my own art sometimes. But yeah, yeah. It's you just put your name out there, and it was amazing how many people like I'd find like so and so liked your Instagram page, and it was wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that whole social media aspect of it is something that I think a lot of people struggle with because I think it's a different set of like tools than just being creative, right? I mean, making music is one thing, but then having to almost be a business unto yourself where you're, telling people about shows and constantly updating social media and posting things all the time. What has that been like for you trying to sort of juggle the two things, the creative side and then the you're now marketing yourself side?
it's been really difficult because I'm not much of a social media person. I it is a challenge because I mean there's just so many voices going on at the same time
Yeah,
on the internet, and sometimes I legitimately just forget, and then I'm like, oh crap, I need to promote that thing that's happening tomorrow.
right.
And it's yeah, it's really I have like a list of stuff that I have goals for like weekly goals, and it always just seems like there's so much to do to move the project forward, like even updating a website. And oh yeah, it's a lot. I i guess that's kind of what's nice about being in a band with more than one person, is like it's easy enough to have different people take different jobs. Being a solo
Totally.
performer, it's yeah, there's a lot.
But I guess that the trade-off is as a solo performer, you can kind of just pick up and go wherever you want.
Yeah,
If you're going to busk or play a show, you don't necessarily need to, round up five people and get everyone in a van and stuff. So I guess it balances out a little bit. Where can
yeah.
the good thing about this being a podcast is someone could hear it when it comes out the day after, or they could hear it like a year from now, and hopefully by then, things are cleared up as far as COVID, I hope, and shows are
Yeah,
happening. Maybe you're touring, things like that. What's the best way to sort of follow you and find out what you're up to and hear the music you have out now?
I would say Instagram and Facebook for news updates. So my handle is at Grotoko Music on Instagram, and then Facebook. Uh, yeah, I guess look up Grotoko on Facebook, or yeah. And then music wise, Bandcamp. I tend to have more stuff on Bandcamp. Sometimes I'll put stuff up and take it down or
Okay.
whatever. It changes more than Spotify, but I'm on Spotify too.
Okay.
So yeah, my go-to is Bandcamp. But I'm also on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music.
Well, and I guess
Everything.
Bandcamp actually you get more out of it as an artist in terms of like actually getting paid, right? You can sell merch and things too.
Yeah, yeah. All my music is up for name your price.
Cool.
So I've actually found that's been actually better, like, because I mean, I like that people can download it if they want to. Like, I don't want there to ever be like any pressure to like
Yeah,
pay me for it, because I mean, yeah,
that almost seems like it goes hand in hand with the busking thing. Where
yeah,
there's, it's like give me money if you want to. That's cool. I like that.
yeah, yeah,
And
for
that sort
sure.
of is also. I mean, I know you've mentioned like punk a few times as being something that's in there with all the other sounds, and that's kind of the punk aesthetic as well, right? Is that DIY thing, and that seems to be pretty strong through what you're doing.
Yeah.
And then before I let you go, I know you don't know when the record's coming out. What is? Can you remind me what the name of the new record is? And then so people, when will people be able to hear songs from it? Like when are you going to start releasing singles leading up to the release of the album? Is that figured out yet, or is that still in the works?
Um, I would say it's still in the works. I hope I'm not cursing it by saying it, but definitely 2022.
Okay, okay.
Um, and the album is called Periwinkle.
Periwinkle.
Yeah.
And will you be releasing that? I know you just mentioned all the streaming services and stuff, but are you the type of person who likes to release physical copies as well?
Yeah. Depending on how the pandemic goes,
Of course, yeah.
I'll have physical copies whenever the release show is. It might be online, just digitally for a while, but there will be physical copies, and I'm planning on doing something really arty for the CDs.
Oh,
But
cool.
I'm trying not to let myself do it, like make it too complicated, because that'll be expensive. But yeah,
Right. Cool.
yeah,
Well, that's I guess a wait and see, right? For people to
yeah,
once it comes out. Very
yeah.
cool.